Do you know if we're going to have any kind of break before we start that?
No, we're going right into brackets next week.
Holy smokes.
Let's get this thing underway. The race is off once again. gamercal needs this to clinch the bracket spot. Mr. Mrzwanzig doing this to better himself, getting ready mentally for the brackets up ahead. We find a piece of heart. I think it's going to be
Well, as for what we're going to get from the uncle, I'm not entirely certain. I saw the gamercal wants to see a fire rod. I didn't see Mrzwanzig's, but as for the uncle here, normally you get a sword in the vanilla game, but in this game type, standard randomized swords, it could be any of the weapons that we can use to kill all of the guards here in Escape. So anything with magic's going to be limited ammunition. Same thing with bow and arrow. We'll see what they get.
Oh, we get the Cane of Berna. So we're going to have to go ahead and be a little safe for how we plan things out. We do see both runners opting to go and kill these green guards here, hoping for the drop. So you can see the power glove, and the good thing about doing that is you're going to be able to get your magic back. Neither of them are getting a bomb, though.
Another nice thing about it, too, is that, our runners are a little less pressed to find a bomb here in Escape. If they miss it, they can always go right back into the Escape as soon as they have one. And for those of you at home who didn't know, there are 3 item chests in the back half of the Escape that can be accessed with just 1 bomb, so it's very important that you find one in most seeds. With that power glove, it's a little less important.
Absolutely. So we're going to see gamercal going ahead and kill some of these guards here. Ends up swinging and missing just a little outside the strike zone on that second pot strike here. Let's go ahead and see how both runners play against this guard. First chance to try out the Berna for good. And it looks like gamercal got it. A little extra magic loss. Mr. Mrzwanzig doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, one thing to note about the Cane of Berna is that when you use it, it'll always send enemies upwards. So if you have a wall to press against, very handy to use it that way. Activating the Cane of Berna, though, costs more magic than keeping it active. So if you start using it several times, you're wasting magic. You'll see that the magic meters reflect that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we could showcase right now. gamercal's magic meter just a little bit lower. He's not in any bad shape at this point. Mr. Mrzwanzig getting through the green guard. gamercal going ahead, knocking him. Gets a little bit of magic replenish. It needs that.
Yeah, that refund's really nice. There's only so many enemies we have to kill here in Escape, and that's what we need this weapon for. We're going to have a ball and chain guard in the basement coming up ahead. Most runners, though, with this kind of weapon will use both pots to throw, and that'll kill them without wasting any magic.
Yep, so we're going to see them grab the pods, throw them right at the ball and chain guard. Hopefully the other guard does not get in the way.
And immediately the green guard trolls Mr. Mrzwanzig, and gamercal actually has him go right in his way, so he ends up killing him anyway.
Yeah, we're seeing the difference in the prize pools here as both runners end up going to the pot stretch as we saw, and 300 rupees. That's good for Kakariko Village, but doesn't solve our bomb problems just yet.
Not at all, and there's only a couple more enemies that will be convenient to kill. We'll have some pots we can throw and a couple magic pickups, small magic decanters that we can get in the back half behind the mantle.
So gamercal, one of 116 runners to go into this week with 4 wins. He's one of 2 runners who end up getting the pair down or pair up status here. So we have coming up 57 great 4-2 matches coming up this week. Hopefully being able to showcase many of them, and we'll see. We'll round up this field of 128 that will make the brackets at the end of week 7.
Yeah, I suppose compared to other tournament structures, this probably feels like the blood round.
Yeah, this is, and because there's so many runners that are currently at that 4-2, there's gamercal getting the bomb drop. So we do see an opportunity for Mr. Mrzwanzig gone as far as killing enough of the green guards to get to that bomb drop.
Yeah, as far as prize packs, most items and most enemies in the game have a 50% chance of giving you something, and in the vanilla game, it's always set to be an exact amount, exactly the same items in the same rotation. In Randomizer, the same system exists, just the contents are randomized. So if you keep killing enemies, you'll eventually find that bomb, although not necessarily with the enemies you expect.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Mrzwanzig does go to a little bit of the burner strats here in this upcoming next room.
Yeah, those ropes were a really easy enemy to kill a whole bunch of, although a lot of times if you end up getting a rupee pack, it ended up being a waste, so neither of them opted to kill any of them, actually.
We get the boots, never mind the bomb problem.
Yeah, we can actually dash into that wall, and that will open it up for us, so at 5 minutes in, our run can finally start, right?
Well, figuratively and literally. Now, this could be very interesting routing. If we get the Titans-Mitt in the back here of Escape or in the Sahasralas, or not Sahasrala, the Sanctuary, that means they can check King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks coming out of here.
That's true, and there's a lot of checks that we would normally not be able to make this early on in the race, so this will definitely have an interesting impact on our routing.
Okay, good. Mr. Mrzwanzig got bombs, but forgot that you could dash into those rocks.
Yeah, as far as those walls go, there's only one exception. Oh, there's a red boomerang, a piece of heart, and a full heart container here. But there's only one wall that isn't like this one with a circle around it that you can dash into, and it's in Turtle Rock. Otherwise, if you see any of them shaped like that, you can dash bonk to open them up. Well, so I think we were both a little bit clairvoyant about bombs not being as necessary in the escape, but gamercal does have one extra to use in the rest of his overworld exploration, and there are quite a few spots.
But you're not used to getting boots in this part of Escape, as we find an arrow upgrade here at the Sanctuary chest. And let's go ahead. Next stop for these runners will be the Bonk Rocks. It'll be interesting if either of these runners go and check the tree. We do get a map check, and really briefly, I did see 2 crystals. I believe Hera was one of the 5, 6. Not 100% confident on what Desert turned out to be.
Yeah, that was actually the one that I missed. So yeah, you're right about 6 being on Hera and Eastern Palace just being a regular crystal.
Bomb capacity upgrade inside the Bonk Rock.
We'll also get a look at the lumberjack tree because we can actually access this once we get to Aghanim. So, you might as well check it since you have the boots to check it. We're also going to see the bush crab here is going to drop arrows for us, and we'll get a tree pull as well. If you kill 4 enemies and pull the tree, you'll get the tier 2. Kill 1 through 3, you'll get the tier 1, and if you kill 4 without taking any damage since your last pull, you'll get tier 3.
And so far, duds as far as the tree pulls are concerned. The arrows are nice, but you're going to find them all throughout Hyrule. This is not an Aghanim required seed for that item that's in the lumberjack. It turns out to be 20 rupees.
Big 20 is always the ultimate insult, but that's a place where you do want to find it.
Especially since you already have 301 rupees, you have everything you need to go through Kakariko Village. As gamercal ends up checking the edge here, we get ourselves a piece of heart. Not going to go ahead and grab that. No reason to do so at this point. Doesn't bother with the tree pull just yet. Maybe we'll do it on his way out. And there's Mr. Mrzwanzig seeing that. We get a piece of heart right here, and it's right on the way. So gamercal will grab that one.
Yeah, we saw Mrzwanzig do the exact same thing with that piece of heart in the woods. Now, you'll see differences between runners and their execution levels where they feel comfortable with, 3 or 4 hearts to work with. Oh, interesting. And our tier 1 was blue rupees.
Is this even randomized?
Well, no, I think that would be tier 2 in NMG.
Fine. All we know is that tier 3 with the no damage is usually the 20 rupees, which is one of the harder ones to get, which is what is built into the no major glitches route.
Yeah, actually, when they found that out a few years ago, or when they started routing that in, that saved about 9 seconds when they did it optimally. But so many people have messed that up, so I wonder why people even do it sometimes.
Lantern at the vendor.
Well, that's interesting. There's a lot of things that require the lamp, particularly somewhat towards the early and middle portions of the race. We have a couple light world locations we can now check, including Mountain.
I was thinking that now gives us 2 items away from having Aghanim be required.
Yep, and our runners will probably try to exhaust their options before they do that, but if you find some good configuration of items, say you find what you need to clear Palace of Darkness, maybe you'll just try to find ways to skip Aghanim altogether.
Well, normally we'd have to indicate that the hammer could still be out in the eastern part of Dark World Hyrule, but that could actually be an advantage for gamercal, as gamercal does know some of the techniques in regarding skipping over the water and doing the sequence breaks like that.
Yeah, we have the boots, so a water walk is possible to get to East Dark World whenever we can get to Dark World, so it's something that might be in the back of his mind. Well, we did get a full heart container, not sanctuary heart here in Well. You're also going to find a heart piece.
Yeah, and this is why runners will opt to skip some of these freestanding heart pieces that you see them go by, because you know you're going to find some in chest. You know you're going to have to come across some that you will have no choice but to grab. So leave the ones that you know that you can leave behind and save yourself some frames.
And you know, there could be some 200 IQ plays going on here with waiting for when you're low on health in Skull Woods, for example, and you just want to mirror out and grab that heart piece. There's a 25% chance it gets you a full heal.
Sometimes being mindful of where you stand health-wise can help you out later on. Get yourself a free health restore.
Yeah, but 6 hearts, definitely not a bad place to be in Kakariko. We're not too unusual. It's not too unusual to see more than that, but certainly comfortable territory.
I do want to point out that we do have some good routing going on at this point. Because of that shovel, we can be able to check the dig spot right after we're done checking the race game as well as the library. And of course, getting the library, we're able to get this item now. Is it going to be worth it? Well, that's a shield, and gamercal thought about it and turned around and said, nope.
Well, here's that gamble we were talking about, the race game here. You can go right through that wall to check what the item is, and it's going to be flute, so gamercal does lose a little bit of time checking it first, but not a big loss. Definitely nice to find the flute here, though.
Also, just remember, this is something you can bonk into. You can save yourself that bomb.
And given that we have pretty limited weaponry for a mini Moldorm cave, that may actually be critical.
This flute now doesn't unlock anything at this point. It's going to be great for travel.
Yeah, it makes Agina's cave a lot easier to get to, even though we do have boots. So, I mean, none of these checks are terrible, but we can definitely get to places much faster. So, I mean, we have all of the fast travel, really. Everything that can make us faster just for movement's sake.
Now, gamercal getting bothered by the guard trying to get up here to check the dig spot. Probably will go activate the flute once he's done with this and get a piece of heart. Says nope, don't need this, gonna walk away. So already selecting the flute, that tells us gamercal is going back to the village and he will activate the flute.
So there's lots of places to go from this point now that both of our runners have this. I mean, Rick, where would you go if you had the flute in this position?
Well, at this point, because there's just so few items that we actually have, the next play's got to be down to the mini Moldorm cave, get the wealth in the chest, because what we have right now is a lamp. Okay, that's great. We can get up to Death Mountain. We have the boots. Okay, that's great. That walks us around the world a little bit faster. But nothing at this point is screaming a different direction. And we need something to go. Like, if we get the bow, Eastern's beatable. If we get the mirror, we can at least get to Hera. If we get the hook shot, Eastern Death Mountain's accessible. So at this point, the play is go South Shore.
Yeah, and really nothing screaming specific dungeons. I mean, until we find at least one of those weapons or progression, we're really not going to have much direction at all. And speak of the sword, and it shall appear, we don't have a book to get there, though.
That's okay. Agina will have the book.
Seems likely enough. There is an old sage or an old cowboy here in the cave, so... and you can't make me unsee it. That is a cowboy hat Agina wears.
Just like look at the staffels on the throne.
Yeah, that one, that also gets under my skin. Or Aghanims' crown. I always thought that was his face.
So 5 was... Oh, the Tinesmith! Okay, so something big was at Agina. So, turns out 5-6 combo, Hera and Desert.
Yeah, I guess it's that one play that you don't really want to make normally in most seeds, but because it's just so quick to get to, you know, very sensible. And this is going to pay off for gamercal. There's a bunch of different places, say if he gets, you know, 1 or 2 other favorable items in this direction, that he can access with those mitts, whereas a lot of runners will skip that location for being a low percentage likelihood spot to finding something.
So we see a piece of heart inside the dam, and it turns out to be a piece of heart. How vanilla outside that. And Mr. Mrzwanzig is going to go ahead and grab it. Turns to go to the right, does not go towards Agina. Maybe he'll flute over there a little bit later. At some point, he will have to. The only problem right now for Mr. Mrzwanzig is if options open up, and he's got places where he can go that's not to Agina.
That's a very good point, and this is where like the randomizer logic can cut both ways. The exact opposite inverted problem could also happen for gamercal. If he ends up getting too many options with that Titan's Mitt, he may end up missing some other kind of important progression he would have otherwise had access to sooner. First thing that comes to my mind is Eastern Palace.
Nice bombing from Mr. Mrzwanzig, clearing out the Moldworms with the only 5 bombs in his arsenal. Doesn't get anything major out of this. The blue mail is a nice find. Gamercal. Oh, that just blew him up. I didn't think they were going to get hit by that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, going to burn an extra bomb there, but he does have 3, and that should be plenty for as far as Ice Rod Cave and any other bomb locations in the overworld will go for now. We still don't have a lot of weapons.
Yeah, but Gamercal is a mirror away from having a weapon.
Yeah, that's true. We have the flute and the Titan's Mitts for the Misery Mire area. We don't have a Moon Pearl, but we don't need it in order to access that ledge. We can just mirror while we're in bunny form. But here comes the Ice Rock Cave.
That's just a single rupee, so Gamercal is not going to be happy to find that, but this is not a place where you want to leave behind too early because it's going to weigh on your mind.
Absolutely, all these Sphere 1 locations, very frustrating to accidentally forget. I mean, Nagina's Cave, great example. Looks like Mr. Mrzwanzig is actually going to check that now, and that's great for him.
Yeah, that is really good right now. He's down to 1 bomb, so this is really good for him to be able to do that. And Gamercal seems to be setting up a trip into the water. He did set up the water dashing here, so he set it up in the Ice Rod Cave, ended up walking along the edge of the pit, and this will allow him to check everything up here a little bit faster. And we go ahead and see that the piece of heart is on the island. Mr. Mrzwanzig picking up that Titan's Mitt. So both of these runners for the same exact items, same exact knowledge at this point. Let's see what the hobo has on this sequence break.
Yeah, this water walk is really nice because with the boots, I mean, there's just so much time saved to just dash through that section. He does get the full heal, but it's not going to help him because he's going to save and quit.
Oh, Mr. Mrzwanzig, that's right. We do have the Titan's Mitt plus the boots. We can go ahead and check King's Tomb. Gamercal will check this next. And it's just money, but that's Zora money.
Yeah, the king was rich, and he is subsidizing our potential life lesson at Zora. I mean, a lot of times it just seems like you get, bad trade for money. But the item density play here is going to be Death Mountain. We're seeing Mr. Mrzwanzig make his checkup here. Not forgetting the old man, of course. That's an important thing. You do still have to rescue him to get his item.
I don't think that's the item density play at this point. I think there's a better item density play with the 3 at Sahasrahla, but Gamercal's going to make the same play.
Oh, that's a good point. And if we do find Mirror here, it works out. But if it's at Sahasrahla or in Eastern Palace, yeah, that would be a bad loss.
Well, both runners may be thinking that this seed wants him to go up to Death Mountain badly because you gave him the mitts, you gave him the flute early on. And bombs come out from the old man.
So
Mr. Mrzwanzig actually needed those.
Yeah, as it turns out, he had none. And, there's plenty of places where you're going to want a bomb. We can get a couple in Hera, but we can't access that yet.
Yeah, you also need it for the Paradox Cave, but can't access that either.
Ooh,
Hammer is on. Spectacle Rock. Where is this mirror? That's not it.
Yeah, I mean, the boomerang is fantastic. It's the best boomerang, in my opinion. Well, in objective fact. I mean, no lag frames. But there's no reason to go pick that up.
So Mr. Mrzwanzig now fluting it over, and here comes the remainder of our checks at this point. As we now try to go figure out what does Sahasrahla have, what does Eastern have. This is it for all of our checks. Except for one that is still in logic. Zora.
Well, Mr. Sahasrahla here is telling our contestants to come on down. And Rick, please tell them what's behind door number 1.
Well, behind door number 1, we have rupees. Ether rupees.
We'll see if the Showcase Showdown will give them that prize today.
It could be yours if the price is wrong.
Well, Eastern looks pretty likely at this point, doesn't it?
It has to be. I mean, well, again, the only other place that they have accessible to them at this point. is Eastern and Zora. That's it.
And of course, if we can find a way to avoid Zora, the best thing that we could hope for is to find that mirror here and then try to do that while we're getting catfish later.
Well, here's the thing with getting the mirror. That unlocks Eastern Death Mountain via that hammer.
Absolutely the case, and we can do it from the top side there. So quite a lot of things we could do. Other things that would be helpful for that search or that routing would be a book, but we're probably not going to find that.
Oh god, if this has the book, that'd be big trouble. You know what would also be big trouble if we find... Let me see. I think probably even more troubling is if we end up finding a sword and a cape in here.
Yeah, that'd be pretty frustrating for most people, myself included. You know, with no Moon Pearl yet, not a lot we can do in the Dark World, and Pyramid could have something like, you know, say Moon Pearl.
Well, there's a scroll that isn't the answer.
Yeah, we still have a chance at a compass, and the remaining items will be dungeon items, I believe. Yeah, we haven't found that big key. Or no, the big key was the first chest.
Yeah, big key was in the first chest, so the compass is the only dungeon item that's withstanding.
Well, with 7 and 6 hearts respectively, Eastern Palace not the worst dungeon, but we don't have a sword yet, so there's a couple of strats we have to kind of work around with that. No bow means we can't get to the back half either.
Ooh! There's our Moon Pearl. That's our Dark World access. Now, that could be a stopping point for either of these runners. Mrzwanzig does not want to gamble on the remaining 2 chests having something. We know we're going to get at least 1 item out of this, and that's the 20 rupee. That is not what we will need to see. gamercal is going to go press on as well.
Yeah, when you've done almost everything that was available to you before that item, you definitely don't want to make the mistake of forgetting that one critical important item. And for them to get to that spot later, you know, they know they're going to double dip this dungeon anyway, unless the bow is in this last chest. So they don't want to go all the way to the left side again after coming back here.
And that, by the way, now officially eliminating to go to Aghanim, maybe? Well, the mirror could still be on the eastern part of Dark Death or the Dark World. But gamercal probably won't go that direction.
Yeah, and we do have the equipment we need for a water walk. We find the compass, though, in the vanilla big key room. So that means the last item is on Armos, and we're going to need that bow to do it.
We will be back a little bit later on as Mrzwanzig starts over here at the mountain cave because he's going to flute off, and there's really only one place to go. Flute to 3, head to the Dark World.
Yep, with the Titan's Mitts and the Moon Pearl, we can now access Village of Outcasts, Skull Woods, and Thieves Town. We can also go further south into the Dark World, gathering Hype Cave and a couple of other locations.
And we got our map check. We have green pendant down at Ice. We have red pendant at Thieves Town. And the other pendant turns out to be over at Skull Woods.
So that means our other 5-6 crystal is actually desert.
Yeah, it's desert and Hera were our 5-6. Turns out Bombos is the one that's required to get into Misery Mire today. As Mrzwanzig falls down the hole and heads in over to Skull Woods. gamercal, what's inside Mire's shed today? Single arrow and blue goo. Now, that blue goo could be important.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can refill your magic is really important when you have not a lot of weaponry. And Mrzwanzig, unless he finds Fire Rod, can't really go to complete this dungeon. But if you did, it'd be really nice to have that magic refill. But gamercal's the one who found the magic.
That's not what I'm getting at, though. Sick Kid's now open.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, that's another item location here in the area. If we find Mirror pretty soon, then we can check it pretty easily. But otherwise, we're going to have to wait for our next trip through.
Yeah, because I'm surprised gamercal didn't go and check that immediately. As we get the compass here. So, Mrzwanzig, will we make the press for the remainder part of this Death Mountain? As gamercal will wind up heading here towards the chess game, let's go ahead and find out what's inside.
It's got to be one of the first 2 chests in Randomizer. You're going to hear that sound when you find the item, and it was red mail today.
Nice defensive upgrade here for gamercal as we now make our way over towards the bombable hut.
It's really nice to get all these upgrades for safety when you don't have a lot of weapons. In the Dark World, we're now being forced towards more difficult dungeons, and having that extra buffer for the damage you take is really critical if you're not going to find a weapon instead.
20 rupees found inside here for gamercal as Mrzwanzig is able to push the block, and the enemies are staying away far enough for him to get through here, and needs to avoid the spike because if he gets hit by the spike, he's dead, and everything wants to tackle him now.
Yeah, it's one of the few rooms in the game that the item or the enemy locations that they spawn at are actually different. Most enemies in the game will spawn the same location every room, but we did find was that bombs and C-shaped house. So gamercal is going to head a little bit further south, do the dig game.
Yeah, digging number 1 through 30 can get you the item here, and I am not drunk. I am not drunk saying that to the chat who's saying that to me, as Mr. Mrzwanzig now knows that one of the 2 items is Fire Rod blocked, and Heart Container is item number 2. Gamercal will go ahead and pick that up. Let's see if the Magic Cape is going to be required.
Yep, a lot of people skip this check, but it's good information to have if it's something important, and today it's just that vanilla piece of heart.
I don't think Mr. Mrzwanzig is in the mood for vanilla ice cream at this point.
No, at this point, we want to find that mirror. That is number 1 on our list. And gamercal is going to take our friend Jeremiah the Bullfrog on a world tour. The concert series, tickets going to be sold out soon. He's going to follow this all the way to Haunted Grove and do everything south side before he saves and quits to take him to the other dwarf in Kakariko Village.
So this will allow him to check the hype cave coming up here, and there's going to be 5 items inside. Gamercal can't do much else at this point unless he finds the flippers. That would give him access to the east side of Hyrule. And in fact, the flippers would officially make Aghanim dead.
Well, I feel like the hype index should be pretty high here, right?
This is a match between a 5 and 1 and 4 and 2. Why should we give him any sort of hype? There's 20 rupees. That's definitely not the hype. That's 20 rupees. That's your first sword. Another bottle of goo inside and 300 rupees. That is the end for gamercal. But first sword in hand means he can actually use that medallion if he needs to.
Yep, I mean, not the craziest items for, late game progression or anything, but that sword is definitely, a very nice find. And having an extra bottle, a green one at that, always handy.
So he's going to go ahead and... gamercal, where are you going? There, we have now actually figured this one out. Seemed like he was getting ready to go to the Dark World, so he could actually mirror and do the chest afterwards. But wait. We need to have a mirror in order to do that.
Yep, very unfortunate for this part of the game's routing, but Mr. Mrzwanzig's doing pretty much the same checks that we're seeing from the south side. Looks like he's going to pick up the Bullfrog as well, and wow, they're Fire Smiths.
Rod! Nice find!
Fire Smiths today.
And getting that sword also when he does means that when gamercal decides that he's going to go to Skull Woods, if he chooses to go all the way, he could finish the dungeon. Magic Cape. Oh! We've now set ourselves up for Aghanim.
Yeah, so, I mean, unless we have a book or a mirror, I mean, that's the only way we get that Master Sword as of right now. I mean, there's still a possibility of finding the Master Sword. I don't think we found everything in Skull Woods. However, if we did, it's looking pretty narrow for what we could possibly do at this point. I think that pretty much exhausts everything that's available to them in logic.
We only found 1 item here in Skull Woods. The other one is Fire Rod blocked. Arrow capacity upgrade was the first of the 2 items. And it looks like gamercal would probably be setting himself up for the water dash coming up on the other, heading to the other side after he's done with Skull Woods.
Yeah, so how this water walk works is you have to, there's like 2 different ways to set it up. The Skull Woods one going to East Dark World, you just have to be doing a dash over a pit, and you need to continue that dash until you're off screen. There's only a few places you can do that, but here in Skull Woods is one example of it.
Yeah, this would be the perfect time to go ahead and set that up. He could go ahead and check Bumper Cape too while he's here, find out that it's just a piece of heart, and so We're going to see him continue to press on here. He's seen the one item inside. Does he go deep in?
I gotta think that, you know, the play is to just kill Mothula. I mean, I know you don't need this pendant, but, you know, if you end up having to go back to the maze, you know, it doesn't take that long to do. I don't know, though. No magic. I mean, ugh. I think you do check that one in the maze.
Well, he can get the magic coming out of here if he bombs to the right, and he does set up the bomb, so he's going to go fill up his magic.
Yeah, so if any doubt was what he plans on doing here, he definitely needs to use Fire Rod just to get into the back half, so this is a necessity. If he doesn't want to use those potions. So actually, he has plenty of potions if he wants to do Mothula.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see what he does. Mr. Mrzwanzig is starting to run out of options at this point, and he's thinking about it. Flutes to 3. Will he finish off with this Skull Woods? It looks like gamercal is banking on the back half of Skull Woods being something sort of required. It'd be amazing if Ether ended up working on the skull.
Yeah, that would be very handy in a lot of situations. Fire Rod can be pretty elusive, but gamercal is diving all the way back to Mothula, so with relatively low health, but, you know, pretty comfy mail upgrades, should be able to handle this, it looks like.
Yeah, I think at this point you'd have the 2 bottles of green goo, so this is not as stressful as a fight as it could possibly be.
Would, of course, be fantastic to have half magic for this, but that's not going to be a luxury we have today.
Well, those green goos kind of make it so you kind of have half magic. You don't really have it, but...
Yeah, certainly that and some. It's nice to have the full refills. So you can normally do 8 shots. Right now he has just under 3, I think.
He's going spin cycle here. Pretty much getting him efficiently too.
Yeah, he's getting good slashes here too. I mean, these spin attacks are actually doing damage. If you knock him into spikes, it'll overwrite that damage completely. So it's a very annoying fight when he hangs out in the corners like this. A lot of people will use Fire Rod to unstick him from there, but if you're above him, it's the easiest to hit him.
I like the fact that gamercal is taking this fight patiently. He's not being too aggressively, and he will get rewarded with finishing off this boss fight. Gets the big key out of it. I don't know if Mr. Mrzwanzig found the second item inside that chest while we were concentrating on gamercal's fight. If it wasn't, then we know that the second item is going to be in the big chest.
And looking at Mr. Mrzwanzig going back to Mothula, it's almost certain at this point, yeah, he didn't find anything in that chest.
Yep. So, yep, that's exactly it. So gamercal is going to go ahead and check this before he heads for the big chest. And Mr. Mrzwanzig lighting up the torches, heading on over towards Mothula. Let's see how Mr. Mrzwanzig's Mothula fight turns out to be. As gamercal finds out that this was not where you want to go, unless you wanted to find how to get yourself through this dungeon.
Yeah, if you do get lost, that Y button is something you can press. I don't recommend you do it often if you're trying to be fast, but it can help you out in a jam if you forget what rooms you've been to. But we'll see Mr. Mrzwanzig do, looks like pretty much the same strats. I mean, Fire Sword, Mothula, not a whole lot you can do anyway. gamercal is definitely going to do the big chest, though, and he'll probably do a bomb jump to get there.
Yep. Takes him a few moments to get there. And then it'll be interesting to see what gamercal does after that. Does he set himself up for the water dashing across the river to save himself from maybe having to go to Aghanim? Again, if it turns out that that mirror is over on the other side of Hyrule, then that's a huge advantage for gamercal. Mrzwanzig's having some issues here with this Mothula fight. He's got to be extremely careful, and he takes a dab. And it's just 20 rupees inside.
That's one of the frustrating things about Mothula is that, you know, those spikes are going to continue going across the screen, and sometimes the RNG just puts you in a really rough spot. But looking at this, I believe gamercal just did the setup for Water Walk,
yep.
Although...
If you noticed, he walked over to the left, and he may have dashed just a little bit. Now he's going to check himself there, and you saw how he moved down those stairs really fast. That means he knows he has this stored. He can go ahead and do whatever he needs to, but he's going to hop off this ledge. As Mr. Mrzwanzig makes the Aga play, gamercal is about to do the Aga break.
Yes, this is the only sequence break available to us that will get us to the east side. So if this ends up being correct, where, we're getting that mirror back here on the right side, which seems likely enough, unless, doing Aghanim gets us to something that gets us to mirror.
So there we go. gamercal now skipping it on over. He gets into the water, and now he's on the right side of Hyrule. If anything on this right side ends up being important, this is a huge advantage for gamercal.
Yeah, so Catfish, we would love if this had mirror. This would be really great for gamercal, but he's even doing the setup for the quick warp just in case.
All right, Catfish, what do you have? Bombs. Mrzwanzig is not camping out on that Aga play just yet. There's one more place that Mrzwanzig can go ahead and check before going to Aga, and that is by way of our friend Zora. What scam is he going to hand us today?
I mean, it may just show you something you want to see, like yourself, because, if that ends up being the case, then the gamercal gambit here actually is a time loss, because not having the mirror for anything else that we're going to do over here would be awful. So one of these runners is about to get paid out big.
Okay, Zora has 50 rupees, 10% rebate.
Well, thankfully you didn't have to mail it in to get that rebate, but that wasn't good. And bombs. Bomb capacity.
Yep, bomb capacity on the ledge. Now, this isn't it for gamercal. This is not officially a bust for him. If Palace of Darkness has the mirror or the item that leads you to the mirror, this is still a good sequence break for gamercal. Mrzwanzig's going all in on the Aga play. And people in chat noting that neither of these runners have made the Thieves Town play.
Yeah, and I believe Purple Chest as well. So, gamercal is going really deep here. His best hope here is to find Mirror here in Palace of Darkness, because that's going to do the most for him. He's not going to have to spend long in here, though. He's going to find out immediately whether or not the rest of this dungeon is bow locked. That first chest on the left having a small key will allow us to continue. If it's anything else, we're in trouble.
Okay, so what happened to Mrzwanzig, by the looks of things, is that he found out that he had no magic. You need magic to activate the cape to go through the door. Well, he opted to go to the potion shop upon finding out this discovery, which is what led him over to the Zora check. All right, gamercal finds inside here. That is a small key. This path continues.
Yep, unfortunately, without the mirror, you got to take the long way around, so this left skull pod here will open up that switch to come back through. A lot of times, people playing this, even in, say, vanilla, will not actually know about that switch, but we're getting the Dark Maze right now for Mrzwanzig on his way up. No items here in Aghanim's Tower, so this is pretty much just a straight 4 or 5 minute time sink for most runners.
All right, spot number 2, we find another small key to continue this path of insanity. Now, if this turns out to be a key up here, we know that the remainder of the Palace of Darkness will be pole blocked, except for the one chest that you can drop down and get right now. And what do we find inside here? A small key. That means the back of the Palace of Darkness is now accessible.
And a map means we have more incentive to go further back.
Although I think gamercal is doing the potion glitch.
Yep, so just to kind of briefly explain what we're seeing here, the game normally locks the camera in the next room and uses that locked camera to count the enemies on screen. By using a potion in the hallway before, we're in the same, I guess, loaded section of the game called a super tile. If we move these enemies to the left or kill the ones on the right and move the red to the left, it'll trick the door into opening even without that bow.
So he ended up pulling that off. Ended up having to kill the green mimics in order to go ahead and do so. As Mrzwanzig goes and faces off against Daga 1, guess the number of blue balls Mr. Mrzwanzig's going to have to deal with. Flippers!
Wow, what a sequence break. Now, I mean, nothing that we can think of immediately will require us to have it that we can't already kind of sequence break the check, but if Swamp ends up having something important, that would be a really great find, particularly if that routing carries us there before, or other places before we would have access to Palace of Darkness normally.
Well, the thing with the flippers is that would have been one of the ways that you wouldn't have to do the water dash to get across from left to right. So that's part of the puzzle at this point. Now, it's interesting to find out where the bow could be, because this could still be bow leads you to those flippers, which leads you to the mirror.
Yeah, so some crazy twisting logic possibilities here. I think I've only seen 2 blue balls so far for Mr. Mrzwanzig. Maybe I miscounted, though. It could have been 1.
I really haven't been paying attention to this fight, in all honesty. And there's a small key as gamercal goes downstairs.
Well, that looked like a really fast Aghanim, so Mr. Mrzwanzig does get some fortunate seeding in this randomizer so far. Being able to finish that up without wasting a ton of time. Hey, there's our master sword.
That means gamercal knows where Tempered Sword is.
Yep, and it also another place that we have to consider whether or not the Master Sword was accessible to us faster. Any kind of sword upgrades we can get will change the way that we fight these bosses as well.
gamercal knows that was a key for a key in the Harmless Hellway. There's the bombos that get you into Misery Mire.
And of course, we haven't had the opportunity to check what Turtle Rock's requirement is, but it could also be bombos here in the randomizer. For those of you who aren't familiar, all of the medallion requirements that you normally have to open up dungeons are also shuffled, sometimes the same one.
And so there's the compass. The mirror is not here. So the question now turns out to be, A, where's mirror? B, where is that bow?
And it's also kind of interesting because clearing out Palace of Darkness like that, we had everything we needed to check everything if we were going to do the sequence break with the bow. Next time we go through, we will have the mirror for sure, that we didn't leave anything out, so we'll be able to do Eastern Palace without having to do a long walk to get there as well.
Alright, time to check the waterfall. I missed what was on the Zora ledge, too.
I believe it's like a heart piece or shield upgrade.
Mirror is there! Oh so
my God.
Wants to play, but where's the bow?
Yeah, so that's, there's not many places the bow can be. I mean, it had to be Thieves Town, wasn't it?
It had to be at this point.
What a crazy find. Well, gamercal's gambit paid off big time. We had doubts for a little bit, or at least I did, but finding the flippers there and finding the mirror there, it will take Mrzwanzig several extra minutes to get to that kind of progression.
That means the mirror was bow blocked, yes. That means the mirror was bow blocked, flippers were bow blocked. gamercal is starting to piece things together. He will soon know that one of 2 places will be the bow. Don't forget, we did have access to the back. It's very well possible that Meyer could also have the bow.
Yes, well, Bombos was in, the back half of Palace of Darkness, so that could normally have to be a double dip, possibly a triple dip. That must have been a triple dip intended by logic, so, oh my goodness.
We don't know. It all depends on where that bow could be. If it is in Misery Mire, that is a triple dip required dungeon by logic, and a sequence break by gamercal gives him the early advantage. But this is a sequence break that anyone can pull off. Mr. Mrzwanzig could pull this off too now. Get to that mirror, at least.
Yeah, we know he has a potion as well, and being a 5-in-1 runner here in this tournament, it's very likely he's aware of the potion manipulation, camera manipulation glitch, which I'm hoping that he'll do here, because that's going to be the best hope he has to kind of keep up with that kind of sequence break. He did sink the time into Aghanim.
Yeah, because right now, if he ends up not pulling off that trick, this could be a dangerous cycle here for Mr. Mrzwanzig in a run here that gamercal is starting to really define some advantage.
Well, so now that he's gone up to the mountain, he has Hera here. This is going to be one of the 5/6 crystals, showing some really nice strats against these hard hat beetles. but with the hammer available to him, he can check so much of the Death Mountain that he's very likely to find more progression while he's here on the mountain. All we need now is a book to check Ether Tablet. Then we have pretty much all of Light World Death Mountain here.
10 arrows right there. gamercal setting up for a bomb drop. Or bomb jump, rather. And misses it, and he'll be falling down 2 levels. Not a good result here for gamercal.
Yeah, I'm very surprised to see that he, you know, didn't end up getting that. What he tried to do is he tried to do a spin slash by the edge, and the game won't let Link release a spin slash unless you're on ground that you can stand on. So you can use that to kind of force yourself to be on the closest possible pixel. Normally, a bomb drop will require you to be within 2 pixels from the ledge. If you do a dash against the wall next to it, you can expand that to 6 pixels. So I think we're going to see gamercal do that, but he might just do the same setup.
So here's round number 2. We know the bow will not be anywhere in this next portion of progression, because obviously you needed to have well, let's just put it this way: you needed to have that mirror to get the hammer, and the mirror turned out to be Flipper's block, which was bow blocked.
Yeah, and we're going to find out here in just a couple of chests, well, 3 total from Mr. Mrzwanzig, whether or not he's going to attempt to do the camera manipulation glitch. If he doesn't, he's got a massive disadvantage here. He will probably be tempted to check Meyer as well.
Ooh, gamercal almost falling down the hole. That Moldorb is out for blood! There we go! gamercal gets him solved up without much of a problem, but what a stressful fight it was. Hook shot!
Holy moly. Boing, 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 folks. That hook shot is good. It could not be in a better place. He's on Death Mountain. He now can access the right side, you know, next time he saves and quits and goes to the mountain. It's just so nice to have that here. He can also get to Hookshot Cave in Dark Death Mountain, so yeah, we have pretty much everything here available to us. Now that we have the hammer, we can even do Spike Cave.
Looks like Mr. Mrzwanzig is heading to the to Thieves Town.
So yeah, Mr. Mrzwanzig did not do the potion glitch. So at this point, he is definitely going to be going back into Palace of Darkness to get those flippers. Whether or not that puts him significantly behind depends on whether Thieves Town here has it.
I think the best case scenario now for Mr. Mrzwanzig is he does the normal fake flippers to get up to the waterfall ferry. That's the only way he can really pull this off without without a triple dip of the Palace of Darkness at this point.
Well, we do find a big key in the first chest, which is always kind of handy for Thieves Town. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't lead to anything we can access. That big chest in the basement requires hammer, which he can definitely not get right now.
Torping behind the bomb wall here in Paradox Cave. Mr. Mrzwanzig continuing on with the Thieves Town play. 300 rupees, that is the second item in here, I believe. And we get Compass. Why not go deeper into Thieves Town?
Yep, this is a pendant, and pedestal, I mean, doesn't look that likely at this point. I mean, what can we be hoping for at this point? Maybe like a Quake if the Turtle Rock requires it, or, you know, Ice Rod? I mean, Cane of Samaria, possibly?
I'm the Freeze Rod. Or I create blocks that hold down switches.
Yep, those are messages that we, well, I suppose in the audience and here on the commentator couch, we would love to see that. But, you know, for these racers, they're praying and hoping that it doesn't happen. And they're very likely to not even check it, even if they get the book, until they're pretty much in the neighborhood.
Well, here's the thing. Even if this was a pedestal required seed, that would give gamercal a huge advantage at this point, because gamercal beat Mothula. Mr. Mrzwanzig died to Mothula.
Also true, the best time for Mr. Mrzwanzig to check the pedestal would be after killing Mothula, which he probably doesn't want to go back to do anyway. Well, it looks like Mr. Zwanzig's going to cover his bases, opening up the ability to fight blind. He finds a full heart container. In Super Bunny Cave, we have bombs and Big 20.
Yeah, we know the bowl can't be where gamercal is at this point. Based on everything that we have already seen behind the bow in the progression. Mr. Zwanzig could find it in here, but who knows? We know the bow can't be on the pedestal either. Oh, wait. Guess what? It could. No, it can't. No, it can't. Ice Palace. That's why it can't be there.
Wait, you don't need bow for Ice Palace.
But you need the hammer.
Oh, yes. Well, Hookshot Cave not producing much but money at this point.
Oh, that's bombs right there. And in the blind cell, as gamercal is going to go check one last place. And according to our tracker, dude, it's ether that is required to get into Turtle Rock today.
Oh, okay, cool. We actually saw that. I missed that. Thank you. And of course, shout outs to dude for doing this. Guy, I always butcher names. For doing our tracking today. Thank you.
Okay, does gamercal have enough to lift up this stone? It looks like he should be fine. Mr. Zwanzig trying to finish off this blind fight. We get a piece of heart. Of course, it fills up a heart container when you're about to do a save and quit. That's always how it works.
That's a kick in the face, or a kick in the head if you like older music. Mr. Zwanzig only finds a piece of heart.
Drops the piece of heart. That means the bow is either at purple chest or, say it with me, Uday,
or Misery Mire. Well, speaking of Mire area, gamercal here is going to get his checkerboard cave out of the way. Also has an opportunity to jump into desert to clear out everything.
Kana Samari on checkerboard!
Well, when it rains, it pours, and gamercal is following the sequence break forecast all the way down the jet stream to get pretty much everything he can very quickly. We're at 52 minutes, and we're running out of things that we need to complete this game.
If this here from Mr. Zwanzig is the bow, this is the really last chance saloon. No, it's not. The bow is in Mire.
Ouch.
gamercal has sequence break himself to not having to double or triple dip Misery Mire or double dip, or I'm sorry, double dip Mire, triple dip Palace of Darkness. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so as far as routing goes, I mean, you can't really expect better than that. I gotta think that when gamercal does the interview after this race, like, he's gonna have a lot of words about what he felt like when he found these items. I mean, we're talking cutting out.
This is one of the extreme cases of how sequence breaking could save your seed, could give you the power you need to make your seed even faster than it really needs to be. And the gamercal has done every sequence break to perfection at this point. And right now, we'll have the double dip pod, but it's better than a triple dip. We'll only have to go through Misery Mire once.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at that, I mean, it was guaranteed to be a triple dip if you follow logic, and to reduce that to a double dip through sequence break, I mean, that's as fortunate as you could possibly hope for. Looking at Mr. Mrzwanzig now, he's going to exhaust all of his other options before Mire, including Mothula, which he died to earlier, but he does have Master Sword this time around, so his sword spins will be a little more productive.
We also know that the bow cannot be an Ice Palace. Why? Because you need the flippers to get into Ice Palace by logic.
And those flippers were behind the bow, and, you know, Hammer also on Spectacle Rock behind the mirror, which required those flippers. So, woo, lads.
Mr. Mrzwanzig's only chance at this point is if he can turn the return trip to Palace of Darkness into a single trip. And the only way he can do that at this point is to get that mirror so he can get the hammer. So he can get on over to Misery Mire. He doesn't need the hammer to get into Mire, but, I mean, at this point, everything's pointing towards what gamercal is doing.
Yeah, so gamercal's got to be feeling amazing about like every progressive item find he's had since he water walked to the East Dark World. Pretty much told him, hey, I'm winning this. I'm ahead. Like I'm clearly like making the right calls here. Now gamercal may also be thinking, hey, Mr. Mrzwanzig probably did the same thing with water walk, knowing where he was with items. If he feels that way.
I would like to. I'd beg to differ at this point. I think gamercal probably knows he's got a huge advantage in this race. I mean, he knows how to pull off these tricks, and that is why gamercal is going to have the advantage that he does at this point in the run.
Yeah, and his confidence is showing through his execution here. I mean, he's getting his dungeons done really quickly. He knows where he is in his race. He has to get everything he can, but Desert's quick checks. You know, you can do that before anything else. And if he finds, say, Ice Rod in the process of clearing Desert, he would very easily be able to go mode pretty much everything else.
Half magic! That's great to see! Mr. Mrzwanzig's lost.
Yeah, he has not much of an idea what he wants to do at this point. He may not even really think about Mire being kind of an unlikely place to be finding things or going to. I don't know. Did he actually check? He checked Mire Shed, so he should know that he can do bombos. And that's his only hope. I mean, he has to go to Mire now.
Yeah, at this point, he's got nothing else to do. Time to get out of here. Mire's the only place to go. The seed wants him to go there. He once again could do fake flippers to maybe sequence break his way to the mirror, which would unlock some more of this seed for him, but he's running out of options. As gamercal heading through the Misery Mire, and unless we have missed something, and it's a possibility that we've missed something, we're going to be finding the bow really soon. It looks like Mr. Mrzwanzig's setting up the fake flippers.
Yeah, I just can't think of where else you would find, you know, bow that is available to Mr. Mrzwanzig, but he is going to dive into Ice Palace, I think. Oh, no, he's going to go to Waterfall Cave. Okay, so he will end up getting that mirror, and he'll sequence break as well to get it. That's good for him here. As far as other places for Ice Rod, though, gamercal could potentially find it in Cave 45, I believe.
No, you can't find it in Cave 45. We're finding the bow here in Misery Mire. It can't be mirror block because remember, you needed the flippers to get to the mirror.
No, I'm sorry, I meant Ice Rod.
Oh, for Ice Rod. That's still, yeah, that's a possibility. Sorry.
No, but other than that, though, like Graveyard Ledge, I mean, I can't think of any other locations that aren't dungeons at this point.
Peg Cave.
Yes, that too. And Magic Bat if we had a mushroom or a powder.
We might as well get ourselves the mushroom so we can do another sequence break at this point.
Yep, fetch quests, always fun.
Small key at compass.
Would you like a fetch quest?
Not today, please. These two do not want a fetch quest. These two would like anything but a fetch quest. I know Mr. Mrzwanzig would want anything but a fetch quest at this point.
At this point, the regular logic feels like a fetch quest. We are going to, and so, I mean, just to kind of clue people in who are a little bit late to join us here on this race, because we're only an hour in, and there's a clear distinction between the routing here. In short, what gamercal did to get ahead here was he did a water walk to East Dark World after Skull Woods, which Mr. Mrzwanzig did not do. This forced Mr. Mrzwanzig to do Aghanim, so that time lost there. He does get his mirror finally by doing fake flippers, but gamercal exploited that to get the mirror early using another water walk. And this has given him tons of advantages for finding items. At this point, Mr. Mrzwanzig, with his mirror, will have a couple choices to make. He's going to opt to check the Misery Mire area.
Yeah, and then he realizes, oh, right, that's right, the hammer is up on Death Mountain, maybe, or something. There's the powder. So we may not find the bow in the Mrzwanzig.
Which is a crushing blow, really, more for Mr. Mrzwanzig than gamercal. Gamercal has the time to spare, and like you were saying before, he probably does feel comfortable enough at this point to spend that time, but, I mean, it only gets worse and worse for how we're supposed to even get to all these items normally.
Never mind, there's the bow. We are now fully back in logic.
Forget I said a thing. That being said, though, gamercal is going to head right down to Vitreous. This is a required boss kill. He didn't do anything to set up the spooky action glitch that we've been seeing lately, but he does have another setup he can do down here if he'd like to.
By the way, I do want to point this out. Chad is correct in the sense that the magic bat could not have the bow. Because remember, what do you need to get to the magic bat? Hammer or mirror.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm used to not having the hammer to have trouble getting there, but yeah, that's absolutely true. You definitely need both.
There we go.
He does do the setup.
Yeah, he does the setup here now that he went and activated the block. Here we go. Runs down and doesn't get it. So he's just going to go ahead and just burn the bomb.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, what we're talking about here is a glitch that messes with the fire rod splash damage by basically manipulating what the game stores for an altitude value for one item. You can get the fire rod to hit from a crazy distance, and we tried to do it there, but I think he was supposed to hit a sprite, and he ended up hitting the wall instead. Either that or he didn't dash upwards fast enough to load the switch in.
Could be either possibility. All right, gamercal, 46 arrows, has the tempered sword, has red mail.
Yeah, so he's going to do some WQ Vidi strats, but he actually has low health, so he can't damage boost through the rest of this.
Yeah, he's got to be careful now, because he doesn't want to damage boost and get hit by the eye by accident, and that would cause a death at this point. Hookshot from Mr. Mrzwanzig. So at this point, you've got to be kind of feeling really bad about yourself if you're Mr. Mrzwanzig, because you're feeling behind. But don't forget, the pressure of this race for Mr. Mrzwanzig isn't as big as it is for gamercal. Gamercal had to win this race to make it to brackets. Mr. Mrzwanzig is already in brackets.
Yep, you need to get to at least 5 wins to have a guaranteed spot. He does get dead rocked at the bridge here at Death Mountain, so while everything might be coming up gamercal, it's definitely not for Mr. Mrzwanzig today. Well, we have done both of the dungeons in the southwest corner of the map, so it looks like gamercal is going to head back to Palace of Darkness. He'll also be able to, using this portal and the mirror that he can set up outside of Palace of Darkness, get Eastern Palace done as well. With that, he'll have Swamp Palace and Turtle Rock. He'll be able to complete this pretty quickly. If only we had that ice rod, we could just go mode all of them and skip tons of chests.
We're not going to be skipping anything here in the Palace of Darkness. We've already full cleared everything except for what's at Helmsar. We're not going to be doing much on Eastern, except going straight to the Armos Knights because we've already cleared everything out, but we do know that the Armos Knights will have the third and final item of Eastern.
Yeah, come to think of it, he has literally nothing he can check besides the bosses. And that'll be true for both of them. Mr. Mrzwanzig did all of the checks he could, except for the right side, which he's going to triple dip. Yeah, at this point, he needs those flippers if he's going to get to Swamp. So I guess if he finds the bow by going to Mire before Palace of Darkness, he could avoid the triple dip.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with regards to him doing the sequence break to get to the mirror via fake flippers, was if he goes to Mire now, he gets the bow. That means he can just easily go and finish off the Palace of Darkness because of the fact, hey, look, you already got the hammer. In fact, he's not going back to the Palace of Darkness without the bow in hand. He's got nothing else to gain from the Palace of Darkness until he gets that bow. Well,
we're going to see the Helmsar fight pretty soon here. Tempered Sword, bow and arrow. you know, we have pretty much everything we could want for this fight besides silvers, and this should be pretty straightforward for gamercal. Mr. Mrzwanzig, though, is heading up here to the top of the mountain. No, he's going to take the south portal instead.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Neither of these runners have exhibited any real ambition to go into Turtle Rock, but Turtle Rock could very well have the Ice Rod. Mr. Mrzwanzig can't do anything about Turtle Rock, does not have the Cannon Samaria.
Yep, that was that checkerboard cave, and having found this mirror, there are still so many places to check that, you know, not exactly the first place you would go. Although there is that tempered sword on that ledge, so he may want to do that before he goes into any other dungeons.
Yeah, knowing that that tempered sword is there, that's going to be on your list of to-do once you're done clearing everything out here. And so, again, for those who are just tuning in, the word of the seed, well, the phrase, rather, sequence breaks. This biologic triple dip of the Palace of Darkness for gamercal done in 2 tries because he sequence break his way to the Flippers Ice Rod at Helmasaur King!
Holy moly. So I believe that is go mode, isn't it? At 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 35 seconds, gamercal has entered go mode. What a race. Well, with that in mind, and my co-commentator absolutely dumbstruck by that, I probably should be too, but, you know, just, wow. Yeah, I am. That's insane. But with that, though, gamercal will head back to Armos Knights to finish that off. He's going to go mode Swamp Palace. He might want to find, you know, silvers, but he doesn't need it to finish off Ganon. This is a straight dash for the finish. Well, he also shows us some really nice sword beam strats to get through that that one room with the Stelphos. Normally you pick up some pots to do it, but we have everything we need to get through this as fast as possible. And folks, you know, this has been really exciting for me here on the commentary casting couch. I'm sure it has been for Rick. But if you liked what you've been seeing so far, and if you guys are as stoked as I am, you want to see gamercal, because it looks like at this point, you know, it's his race to lose. If you want to see both of their antics throughout the rest of the brackets, because it would appear that they're both advancing here, you should give them both a follow. They're going to be basically going to the elimination bracket next week, and that's going to be, you know, barring any unforeseen catastrophes for gamercal. You guys want to follow this, both the runners and, of course, all of the speed gaming channels and a link to the past randomizer channels to catch the rest of this tournament. I think we may have lost Rick there for a minute. Not a problem. He'll be back with us shortly, though. We're getting the Armos Knights fight out of gamercal. He's doing the top right setup, so you just want to pump 3 arrows into each one, and as long as nothing goes wrong, you get that last one before it can go to the enrage phase, where it heals and requires another 3 arrows. Mr. Mrzwanzig will pick up his tempered sword on his way through here with Misery Mire and Desert.
I was so waiting for the silver arrows to show up at the Armos Knights, because why not at this point?
Yeah, Chad mentioned that you were blown away by that. I mean, you must have gone across, you know, country, state lines. I mean, holy cow.
Not that I'm close to a state line.
Well, so we got Swamp Palace coming up ahead. Not really much we're going to have to stop for. In fact, we can go right to Argus with no consideration for items. Mr. Mrzwanzig does pick up his half magic, so he's got a little bit more comfort going through here.
Continues to go search for things. He will probably go and mirror and get that Cannon Samaria real soon as gamercal pops into Swamp Palace. 6 items inside. gamercal, as you mentioned, needs to see absolutely none of them, and Mr. Mrzwanzig has left behind a key that is needed to check that right-hand side.
Yep, so he's going to grab that. The nice thing about having mirror here in Desert is that once he does get all of the chests in the right side, he can mirror back to the left side to go do Lamolus all in one fell swoop. We're hoping he goes check Checkerboard Cave, though. That would be the ideal scenario here.
Yeah, don't go into Misery Mire. Just whatever you do, Mr. Mrzwanzig, check Checkerboard before you go into Mire, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for a little more pain than you already have in this seed. And this seed has already been painful. Already behind because gamercal using sequence breaks to his advantage. And gamercal is one of those kind of runners who is very proficient at those sequence breaks. He's done tutorials about doing the entire water dash across the river there from left dark world to the right dark world, and that's why it was very easy to see him pull off that move here as Mr. Mrzwanzig ends up getting the Cane of Samaria. So he's well on his way to getting the bow. Problem is, gamercal is probably a good 20 minutes ahead of him at this point.
Yeah, that could even be an understatement. It's crazy how much time gamercal has cut out. You don't see it in all of the dungeon progression. You look at these dungeons and it might look like, hey, that's 10 to 15 minutes depending on how you play with all these items. But they're double dips, triple dips, and that's just incredible amounts of time cut out by these sequence breaks. Well, we have an Argus fight up ahead. I'm wondering, do you think gamercal attempts the zero cycle strat?
Gamercal's showing off a lot of execution that could actually go ahead and pull it off, but whether or not he's able to do so, I don't know. It's going to come down to his nerves at this point. But he's got to, at this point, he's got to know that he's in the lead because of everything that he has done. He's been running confidently.
Well, for those of you who may be kind of scratching your head at what I was just saying, there's a zero cycle strategy where Argus will do none of the spin cycle. If you can do really nice item dashes by pressing the hook shot and the dash button at the same time while you have your sword outstretched, you can do rapid fire hook shots and kill them real quick with pokes. But it's like the hardest boss fast kill in the game, so we're gonna see gamercal not attempting it.
Yeah, he's gonna do just traditional pull and swing, pull and swing, pull and swing. It's amazing if you're able to pull it off. I know I'm not able to do it myself. I just don't have the timing down just yet. And he's pulling out the fire rod, so he's gonna get ready to swing and fire rod. But I think he may have poked him and not swung. So that caused one more hit for gamercal, and Argus drops the compass. And 6 crystals down for gamercal. Turtle Rock, the next stop on this sequence break train.
And it is just a chugging along. Mr. Mrzwanzig's finishing up Lamolus. He had a really good fight, actually, using Tempered Sword spins to stand in the middle of them and get a lot of hits off.
Well, I'm also curious where Mr. Mrzwanzig is going at this point.
Yeah, it's not like there's a pedestal to check or anything, and he's coming here to, gosh, I don't even know, maybe Peg Cave?
Oh, yep. Or nope. Graveyard Ledge.
I feel like we have a stream delay on his thoughts. But here comes the mirror use on the Graveyard Ledge. He's going to check to see what this item is. It doesn't have anything that's critical as far as we know. We know the powder is in Misery Mire, so we'll check that in a moment. But gamercal is going to open up his Turtle Rock portal here.
Turns out to be 10 arrows. What we don't need to see at this point. So gamercal heading into Turtle Rock, getting ready to put an exclamation point on this seed. As Mr. Mrzwanzig is continuing to try to figure out what else he needs to do at this point. And I think at this point, Mr. Mrzwanzig has kind of conceded that gamercal's got this race, especially if gamercal did any of the major sequence breaks, especially since Mr. Mrzwanzig went to Aghanim. And again, just want to point this out. This is a meaningless match for Mr. Mrzwanzig. He's already in brackets. Gamercal is the one who needs to win to get in.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about, the position Mr. Zwanzig's in. He has pretty much just followed logic. Usually logic will prevent, a lot of the craziest scenarios from happening, where you have double, triple dips and back-to-back dungeons. But version 29 sometimes just gets stuff like this, and he was probably just trying to play safe to, make sure he didn't miss anything crazy. Interestingly enough, he's bombing his peg cave location. He doesn't seem too happy about not finding the bow there.
Yeah, because remember, he has no idea where the flippers are, and that the flippers are mirror blocked at this point.
But he has checked almost everything he can. He is heading for the K45, which we haven't seen, and it looks like we got a mushroom and turtle rock.
Of course we got the mushroom and turtle rock. Why would we want to make it easy to go ahead and sequence break the magic bat, even if we didn't find the powder? The Grove K makes his pokey, see whether or not the pokey treats us nice with good RNG.
Yep, if we were playing NMG, this would be hopefully a fairy drop, but let's see what we get today. An actual fairy drop!
Feels like vanilla.
That's like actually very difficult to have in Randomizer. That doesn't normally happen.
Yeah, and gamercal didn't actually need it because he's had full health at the point.
Well, sometimes good fortunate things can happen even when you don't need them to. gamercal, when it rains, it pours, like we talked about before. The sequence break train does not stop. Those breaks don't even exist. He's going to get that fairy just to make sure.
Now, Mr. Mrzwanzig here is making some odd plays. I'm not certain what is going through his mind at this point. Like I said, I just have that feeling that Mr. Mrzwanzig has kind of conceded this match unofficially, in the sense that he probably already knows that if gamercal made certain plays, this match is his. But he's going to go check to see what exactly this bomb yields.
This could also be the product of minor metagaming. He could realize that, hey, with the item locations that there are and the possibility of sequence breaks, if it was in the worst possible location, which he's checking now, this would be an annoying place to find it, then he could potentially end up ahead in his mind, if he does it right here. But he actually mirrors an extra time in accident. Well, we're definitely not going to see Mimic Cave today. gamercal on a warpath to get to Trinex here, and I don't think he's going to need that safety door either.
Well, we will see whether or not he still has to do Laser Bridge. He still has only one key in his arsenal. And as we find Blue Rupee as well as an arrow upgrade, as Mr. Mrzwanzig just scatters around, and will he head on over towards Misery Mire? Because that's where he needs to go if he wants to get the bow to put himself back on... Well, he doesn't know it's back on logic. Okay, we don't have to do Laser Bridge. Good news. So now we're going to see Trinex probably drop the silvers, because why not at this point?
Yeah, we certainly haven't been short in terms of, surprises this race. We've been blown away even a few times by some of the absurd locations that we found things. And the nuts thing about this to me is that he can still finish sub 130 at this point if everything goes really well for gamercal, even though, as we saw discussed in chat amongst ourselves, this is likely a plus 2 hour seed for most runners.
Yeah, just a reminder for most of the runners who may be tuning in late, this is by logic an AGA required seed, a triple dip of the Palace of Darkness, because you had to go in without the bow to get to the bombos in the back in the maze. Then you took that bombos into Misery Mire, where the bow awaited you once you got the big key. You took that back to the Palace of Darkness, in past the mimics on the right hand side to get to the flippers, which yielded you the mirror, which yielded you the hammer. And while we're discussing all of that, gamercal is now faced off against the Trinex of our dreams.
Yeah, so long progression short, somehow gamercal is all the way on his approach to Gan's Tower at this point, sub 120. I'm just like floored by the knowledge that he has with the water walks, with the fake flippers. It's just been absolutely mad.
And so also on top of this, this was a double dip of Misery Mire required, because you needed that mirror that you got via the bow to get to the Cane of Samaria at the Checkerboard Cave. And what Trinex done, gamercal, is got 7 crystals. It's time to play a game a day. Go ahead and speak it.
Well, so there are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower that can have the big key that we can access before we have to climb the tower. So what we like to play here on the Speed Gaming channels is a big key guessing game. Get your guesses into chat. Which chest number you think it is? I see numbers streaming up and down the screen, screen already. But what do you think it's going to be today, Rick?
For me, I'm going to guess, because I want to see gamercal pull up the sub 90 chest number 2.
I do like it, and that would be a chance for him to get a small key as well to be safe going up to the top of the tower. I'm always a fan of Bob myself, so I'm hoping it's chest number 14, but I do like the sentiments on the sub 130. Here at 120, he is going to finish up his cutscene with the crystals to walk in. We have until we get to the basement there before we cut this off, so get your guesses in quickly, folks. If you are the lucky guesser, if you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels or have donated 250 bits, you have a chance to be entered into our leaderboard. Otherwise, play along for fun, folks. Chest number 1's a big 20.
Yeah, chest number 2 turns out to be a small key, as Mrzwanzig is just going riding around. Yep. This pretty much just confirms that he's just waiting for the dot done at this point as we find a piece of part on the torch, and we're going to head on over towards location number 4.
Ouch for Mrzwanzig. He really is showing that he has, he's throwing in the towel on that one.
Yeah, he's got no interest in finishing this match. And he gave his offer here. He gave it up until probably about maybe 10-15 minutes ago when he started really kind of just playing around. Once he realized about what's going on with this seed, I think he realized, because of the nature of who he's up against, that his chances of winning were minimal, especially after he died to Mothula. Especially after he dove Thieves Town, rather, that had no progression in it.
Yeah, and that was a pendant. gamercal's been through 7 chest locations here, 7 item locations, hasn't found that big key yet.
Yeah, he better find a hurt soon because he's down to 2.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any kind of healing items to work with, just green potions. So that big 20 is not a big surprise for him. There's 20 of them in the game, but chest 8 so far, nothing.
Nice boomerang strat there for gamercal as we head on over towards chest number 9 coming up in the fire snake room.
Now, I'm hoping that Mrzwanzig gets the same kind of luck here with that pokey. Just a regular heart. Seeing really nice use of invincibility frame strats with the hook shot here in the firebar room. Chest number 9 is just a small key. We have the randomizer room coming up, named so because in a speed run of this game, no major glitches, you would never, ever come to this room. But there are 4 item locations, and the randomizer definitely uses them. Oh, chest 10, 5 rupees. Chest 11 is going to be our big key today. And you will check the rest of them, hoping for those silvers. So
if you guess chest number 11... you're gonna win a nice prize. You're gonna get our love and affection for you.
Love and affection only redeemable for today, folks.
And it's only gonna be redeemable by Lana Bean. Congratulations on choosing chest number 11.
Cannot be redeemed for cash value.
Well, it's gonna be like a coupon. It's gonna be redeemable for only 1/20th of a cent.
Ah, yes. So you need to guess 20 or 19 more times accurately, and then, pennies on me. But with that, though, gamercal is going to make his ascent up Ganon's Tower. We have the 2 sections of the Gauntlet coming up ahead. We'll have some boss refights. This is basically, if you played the vanilla game, a recast of the Light World. We're going to get all the Light World bosses in one sequence. Armos Knights on Ice, great thing to check out. Get your tickets. That'll be in town for a quick run. We'll also have Lamboas 2, Moldorm 2, and Aghanim 2.
How did that bomb not work?
I think it was just a little bit outside of the radius. That wall might be a little further south than it looks.
And just a reminder that gamercal here at 4 and 2 is one of those runners that didn't really deserve to go 4-2. Just got a real nasty schedule. Take a look at his schedule. Week 1, 5-0. Week 2 ended up getting a dropout with Kai Aliens dropping out of the tournament. Week 3 was a win over Dat Lawson. Dat Lawson's a very fine runner. Week 4, Spoodaloo, and that's a fine runner too, and he ended up losing to Spoodaloo. Week 5 is Emo Seru, and that is another fantastic opponent in this game. Week 6, TGH. Enough said.
Yeah, that's a pretty challenging run. So, I mean, we're definitely seeing, exactly why gamercal deserves to kind of, finish out with 5 wins. It's clearly on display today, both in game knowledge and execution.
And that is, of gamercal's opponents, that's going to be 3 of his opponents that were 5 wins in this tournament.
Holy cow, that's got to be one of the better tie breaks out there.
It likely is. And gamercal would have likely probably end up getting the tiebreaker to make it in as a 4-3 smash. Why leave it to that chance?
Yep, nothing better than to just win your way through.
Punch your ticket in now, and don't have to even worry about the tiebreakers.
Well, winning is definitely a winning strategy. Can't argue with that, and results will show. Mr. Mrzwanzig is going to try to get his refill here. It looks like he's going to the right side of his Dark Maze. We're getting torch rooms out of gamercal. There is one potential chance for him to make a big mistake here. He could despawn the tower if he goes up the next stairs while this door closes.
I don't think we even need to worry about that at this point. Nope, there we go. The sprites have been spawned. We could still have a despawn at Moldorm. It has happened in the past.
That would be so lousy. Other than that, though, the worst possible thing that can happen here in Gan's Tower is dying to Aghanim 2. He has lots of health to work with and red mail. I don't think we're too worried about that at this point. Well, there is just one more chest here. It is in the vanilla game of Big 20. You can also call it the Moldorm 2 chest. That's what we're going to need to hookshot over, unless you are a hover god and can hit the dash button in really nice frame-perfect ways. He will check it and get 100 rupees. He's probably hoping for those silvers.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and trade in this mushroom that Mr. Mrzwanzig has found. We're going to go ahead and see what it is. As gamercal gets ready to play Geometry with Aghanim 2.
Yeah, so this is like the Aghanim fight that we saw with Mr. Mrzwanzig. He has a 50% chance of shooting blue balls at you with the main regular one, but his 2 after images are always going to shoot reflective attacks, so the fastest he can do this is in 2 cycles, takes 6 hits. But the pattern's not always cooperative.
Yeah, I think that was 0 and 1 so far.
Oh, so close to that triple.
Yeah, just a bit outside right there, and I think we're at 2 right now. That could be 4 or 3.
Yep, if they hit at this exact same frame, they won't count, so it looks like you were right. He had 4.
All right, we have the fight against Ganon coming up with the possibility of maybe still doing a sub 130, but gamercal is going to have to be very proficient in the fight. Without the silver arrows, Mr. Mrzwanzig popping into Ice Palace, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Mr. Mrzwanzig throwing in the towel once he sees gamercal finishing this race.
Certainly would be reasonable, and I think he's going to know exactly why. We wouldn't blame anybody for having that reaction to that kind of disparity, and nothing against Mr. Mrzwanzig. It's just that's one really obscure thing to give you so much access, plus on top of the other sequence breaks. But like you mentioned, it is possible to finish this Ganon fight in under 2 minutes with Tempered Sword. You need to get a 1-in-1 cycle, which I think he may have pulled off there.
Yeah, I think he's got a good setup for this. He's going to go to Magic Cape with a half magic that definitely sets up pretty nicely to get the 12 hits that you need. Don't even have to worry about the spins. And so therefore we get the 1-in-1 and get some just in time. Oh, be careful. He does have a fairy in a bottle, but that's not a good place to be to lose that much health.
Yeah, Ganon Hugs are the highest damage you can take in the game. When Green Mail, it'd be 8 hearts. So he's got to be very careful not to waste that fairy before, he gets to the 4th phase, where a simple mishap could definitely be a place where he wants it.
And the tower ended up holding on to the silver arrows. Oh, not a great spot for him to start up.
However, if he had been able to do a sword spin off that first one, he could have had a triple off of that lamp. No big deal, though. If he switches to Fire Rod, he can pull off triple sword spins per cycle.
We didn't get it right there, but did he just get the spin off him right there coming out of the blue? That looked nice.
He did. I think that's like a 2-frame window. Okay, we need 12 sword spins total.
Yeah, I don't think we can say goodbye to the sub-90 dream, but he's still going to put up a very solid time.
Interestingly enough, Mr. Mrzwanzig there did the Ice Palace bomb jump with the pegs down.
It's always nice when you can go ahead and do the bomb jump with the pegs down like that.
Unfortunately for gamercal, it's just a little outside the sub 130. If this is NMG, this would actually look like the normal finish to a run, surprisingly enough. I think he's got maybe 1 or 2 left here.
This by far will be the fastest time for gamercal in the tournament, as he will go ahead and beat Mr. Mrzwanzig, and gamercal will join the 128 players to make brackets with his win over Mr. Mrzwanzig to improve to 5-2 in the tournament, bettering his tournament best by more than 20 minutes as he wins with a time of 1:30.26.
Wow, what an improvement. And it looks like Mr. Mrzwanzig has thrown in the towel in the race channel, so it looks like yeah, he's not going to put himself through that torture.
Hello.
Well, we're going to go ahead and just finish this off by saying, great job, Mr. gamercal, and a nice effort there by Mr. Mrzwanzig. Your thoughts?
What did I just do?
You sequence broke.
My mind got blown as soon as I saw the bow in Misery Maya, because I was convinced that that was what I'd sequence broke out of Thieves Town or Purple Chest. And when I saw that, I was like, wait, what? But how was I supposed to... Where was Bombos? I forget.
We're going to go ahead and just finish this off by saying...
I believe one of us may have the
gamercal,
audio
nice
bleeding into their mic.
By Mr. Mrzwanzig. Your thoughts?
What did I just do?
You're
still getting my audio.
Broke.
My mind got blown as soon as I saw the bow in Misery Maya, because I was convinced I can do about that. I mean, maybe.
There we go, we're good.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna start at the beginning here. gamercal, you sequence broke the hell out of that seed.
Did I ever?
Okay, let's set this up logistically. AGA 1 required.
Yep.
To go into the Palace of Darkness to get the bombos out of the maze.
It was in there. I thought it was.
To go to Misery Mire to get the bow. To return to Pod to get to the flippers. To go up to the waterfall to get the mirror. To get the hammer. To go back into Palace of Darkness to get the ice rod and to beat that dungeon. To go back to checkerboard to get to the checkerboard cave. To get the Cane of Samaria so you can finish Mire. Double dip Mire. Triple dip Pod required.
Now, what gamercal ended up doing was a water walk to the East Dark World, and by doing that, plus the waterfall cave, was able to skip quite a lot of that, and we didn't stop there. We actually also did a potion camera manipulation glitch in Palace of Darkness, making that only a double dip.
Oh man, that's quite the seed.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely.
It's like the seed set up for gamercal, because who's one of the people that you look for the tutorials on how to do that Skull Woods to East Dark World skip?
Oh, you know, the irony is I could have had that mirror at the start too, because if I'd have water walked up to the Zora area instead of Hobo, and then, because I save quit there, I could have actually gone in and gotten the mirror straight away. But I didn't have the money to do Zora at that point, so I was figuring, yeah, let's just cut the losses here, just get one of these annoying to get 2 spots out of the way, and then come back for the others later.
Yeah, so I mean, while this is already incredibly fast at 1 hour 30 and about 25 or so based on your live split timer. I mean, that could have been even quicker, which is just wild.
So, gamercal, how good does this feel to better your tournament PB by nearly 20 minutes?
It feels good to actually have a good seed for once. Although this would be horrible if you didn't sequence break, but it feels good to actually have a seed that I could read well and not have to just full clear everything. Oh goodness. I mean, that ice rod was just an audible yes. You know, it's like, okay, everything's worked out so well here. Let's just, you know, post as quick a thing as I can get for this. Oh my god, I can't believe that. There's so...
I'm sad you did it so quickly. I was gonna go for the pedestal and everything.
Yeah, he was going into Ice Palace when you finished up Ganon.
Okay.
Well, so I gotta, you know, flip the script and, you know, kind of ask Mr. Mrzwanzig how you felt, you know, like at what point where you felt like, you know, the sequence breaks were necessary.
Well, I wanna make a couple of First of all, I mean, I knew I lost this race like a half an hour in because I tried to kill Mothula. That didn't work so well because that's, you know, the worst boss ever. So I died, and I'm like, well, I guess we'll go do Aga now, because I've skipped Thieves' Town this far, so let's just hope nothing's in there. I'm probably already screwed, but, you know. So
and then you ran out of magic, and you couldn't get through the barrier.
And I couldn't get through the barrier. That was fun, because I spent all that magic trying to fight Mothula. So then, you know, then I go to Aga, I run out of all the locations that opened up, and I'm like, well, well, I'm uber screwed. There is no way I'm winning this race anymore. So, but, you know, let's just go clear out all the other stuff. Clear out all the other stuff, and then realize, still can't progress.
I liked your...
Let's go fake flipper, I guess, and then maybe that'll give me something, and then if it doesn't, I'll try to maybe work out what I missed. And I find the mirror, and I'm like, oh man, I was totally gonna forfeit if that wasn't it, because I had no idea what I missed.
Yeah, I liked your little ride that you did in Turtle Rock, just going over and around and around. It's like a theme park ride.
Yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed that. It was, yeah, it was great. So yeah, no, once I find that mirror, I was just like, I'm just gonna play until either the game will stop me or gamercal finishes, whichever comes first. Because I'm not finding those flippers.
And then 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 26 seconds in, we get the mercy kill.
Yeah, good times.
I am so sorry.
I was just kind of memeing around after that, honestly. I was... I never put it together that I could even, like, what happened initially is I never marked the flute on my tracker, so I never went to the mire shed. Eventually I realized that I hadn't gone there, like when I was halfway through clearing everything else, when I had already, like, way past given up. And then I go in there and I'm like, okay, well, it's not in the mire shed either, huh? Well, okay, I have no idea what I missed then. And then it only just hit me right before I came in for the interview. Oh yeah, I probably could have gone into mire. I never even checked the medallion. Huh, that's fun.
Oh, not to interrupt, but that menu time, though. You'll see that when it comes up. Oh.
Well, don't spoil it for us. We'll see in just a moment. But, you know, that was a fantastic effort there, gamercal. Like, everything in that seed set up in your direction. And of course, guess what? You're in brackets!
Congratulations.
Yeah, we made it past the first round of the tourney this time, right? This is a tourney first for me at this point. It's the first time I've won my opening match, and it's the first time I passed the first round of the tourney, so, right.
Yo, 218 menu time? Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh boy. Nice. Yeah.
With 144 for 240, 144 for 216. My goodness.
Not bad at all.
Also,
yeah, I didn't mean for this to turn into a huge meme. I was gonna actually try, despite the fact that, you know, it doesn't really matter for me. But, you know, sometimes you just gotta embrace the memes.
Well, when the memes come raining like that, I mean, you just gotta hold your umbrella out, right?
Yeah.
Well, when it rains, it pours.
Well, we've definitely seen a really excellent race from both of you guys, and obviously great execution, despite how crazy the logic ended up, really working you over, Mr. Mrzwanzig. But as far as, brackets go, there's a possibility that the two of you will meet each other again. Is there anything you guys plan on doing?
God.
I'll start with gamercal. Well, is there anything that you would want to, work on or at least practice going into elimination, gamercal?
Well, execution-wise, that my attack I haven't actually looked at yet. I tried to do the old style of it here, and for some reason it didn't work. Not quite sure why. It probably wasn't far enough down the screen. So I'll need to have another look at that because I've been putting off practicing it just because it's not really that important at the moment. But going into brackets, it's going to be a much better sort of thing to look at, and kind of just take another look at the way that I've written stuff here, because this was rather different from a lot of the ways that I've written these seeds so far. I didn't go Pendant Thieves at all. I only went Skull Woods because I just got Sword and Fire Rod, but I didn't go Pendant Thieves whatsoever. And knowing what I knew in this seed, it almost seemed madness going over to a pod like that. But it's just like, you know what? It'd be really funny if the mirror is over here somehow. It just worked out that way. But yeah, I need to take a look and see if there's any more concrete changes that I can make, because I think as good as my efficiency is in this, doesn't matter how fast you can go if you're 100%ing pretty much every seed. And I think there's one or two little bits that I haven't quite picked up yet in this logic that I know a few people definitely have. So I think doing a little bit of consulting on that.
I think outside of the Skull Woods play, I think you read this seed pretty beautifully.
Oh yeah, this one went so well.
Well, regarding the Misery Mire tech, I think the way they had it set up, I think it just didn't have the switch, the camera scrolled up enough. I think that was the issue with that one.
Yeah, probably.
Regarding, I guess I kind of want to ask the same question to Mr. Mrzwanzig. I mean, you're falling to 5 and 2. Both of you have 5 and 2 after this week. Do you have anything that you plan on doing to prepare for, the elimination bracket?
I don't know. I mean, I never expected to make it this far, honestly. I think it's kind of hilarious that I even got this far in the tournament, because I consider myself absolutely terrible at Link to the Past, honestly. I'm just kind of along for the ride at this point,
Well, good news to the two of you. You are guaranteed at least 2 more races of this game. Good luck to both of you guys in brackets.
Thank you very much. Yeah, definitely good luck to you as well, man. That was... Honestly, today has been one of the most fun Mando days I've had in quite a while. This is the 3rd seed I've played today, so... But I'm going to sound really, really, lame for saying this, but I'm sorry, some of my execution was not quite up to par compared to, against TGH and whatnot. Because this is the 3rd seed I've played today, so I'm a little bit... talk it out for the day, but every seed has actually gone pretty well, and yeah, I've just had a ton of fun playing this game today, so I'm absolutely ecstatic that we're gonna get more runs of this, and yeah, best of luck to you in brackets. Hope to see you again in one of these.
Well, on the note of, yeah, absolutely. And then there is a chance that you guys could meet up.